Hey everybody, welcome to my Suburban Oasis. My name's Soleil and I garden in Zone 5B in mid-Michigan. And it's a beautiful day outside today. It's in the mid-70s and it's partly sunny. And I thought we would just do some garden maintenance tasks today. So what we're going to start with first is this burning bush. And I think a lot of people get intimidated by pruning. Pruning is one of my favorite things to do because it's one of the things that you have the most control over. You can take a look at what needs to be done and you can get it done. And it's also usually a really quick job. So we're going to start with this one. I've got some finger pruning to do as well as a little bit of clipping to do. So what you'll notice is if you come in close and look, you'll see that there are some small branches that are starting to poke out because I have topiaried this tree. So we have some more down here. And then because of the pruning on it, I also have a kind of sucker down here at the base that's coming up. So let's prune these. This is going to be super easy. I'm just going to start with these and I'm just going to pluck them off with my fingers because they're super soft growth right now in the spring and they're hardly connected at all to the bark right here, and so it makes for a very nice clean pruning. Some of these you wouldn't even be able to use your pruners on, and you wouldn't be able to get as clean of a separation between these little branches and the bark. If you use your pruners, you can get right up to the edge. So that's just how quick that goes. And then we'll come down here to the base, and you can see when I topiaried it, I cut off this big branch, which then really tells the plant to put out more growth. So it's got these little suckers down here, and let's see if I can get this big branch off the same way. If I can, it's more effective actually than using the pruners. Yep, that worked out pretty good. So perfect. We got that all cleaned up. All right, now we're going to move on to plant some dahlias. So next to my pool, I have these 5 planters along with Turtle Boy, and we have these pretty much every year. And this year I'm going to do dahlias in pots. I'm not going to plant them out into the garden because I felt like last year they were a little bit floppy. Maybe they got a little bit too much moisture, and I don't like to stake my plants if I can avoid it. But also I didn't feel like they bloomed as well as the ones in the pots over here did. So I actually kind of decided to take out some of the dahlias that I didn't like the colors of, because when I bought these initially, I bought them a couple years ago and they were all supposed to be like blue boys or like a purple variety or a pink variety, and it turned out that I had lots of oranges in there and different colors. So I kind of took out the ones that I liked and I've saved those over the winter time. Now I put them into these trays during the winter. Well, actually they weren't in the trays over the winter. They were just tubers that were plain, and then I potted them into these dollar trays. This is just a dish pan from the dollar store, and added some soil in March, and since then have just been growing them on. You can see this is a really nice, root ball. It's not too root bound or anything like that. And I did fill these pots up so that they have nice fresh soil in probably the top 4 inches of the soil. So all I'm going to do is actually plant these directly in. I'm not going to try to break these apart or anything. And I have a matching pot on the other side that we're going to put in just the same. So I'm just going to make a big enough indentation for them in the middle. And I'm hoping that I can then also plant some things in front of them, kind of spilling over the front, as well as probably in the back. I think that will still provide enough room in here. So that looks good. I did put them just slightly below soil level because they have, they're definitely already above soil level in the tub that I was growing them in. So I want to get them a little bit more in the soil to ensure that they don't dry out, because that was the one challenge that I had with them being in pots last year, was that they did require quite a bit of watering. Well, we got the first bucket in, so I'm really happy about that. I think it is going to be just the right size for these pots, and these are really, really giant pots. I actually can't tell you what size they are, but They're definitely bigger than 20-inch. I'm gonna say maybe they're even 30-inch pots. I got these on sale probably at Home Depot, and they were only like $20 each. I don't know how long they're going to last for. Oops. This is a fungus gnat thing. I don't know how long they're gonna last for, but I've had them for 2 years now, and they're working out pretty good so far. Large pots are really expensive, but it's hard for me to find ones that I like nearby, and I like to check them out in person. And if there aren't any to look at, then it makes it really difficult to shop for them. All right, well, let's take a look at how these turned out. So it's hard to kind of get a view of these. That's really good because they are right next to the pool, and otherwise I'd be in the pool. But this gives you a bit of a view in terms of what they look like and what's behind them. And I think they're gonna look really beautiful in these pots again. All right, next up we're gonna pull some hostas away from some hellebores and kind of edit some plant beds. We'll head on over into the shade garden over here. And I've been trying to take care of a few things here and there, slowly but surely, because that's usually the best approach for me. And in this corner, you may notice that back behind the fence right here, it kind of looks a little open, and that's because there was actually a Norway maple tree that was there that was beginning to grow. It was probably about 10 feet tall. So I cut that down because what was going to be happening is there was going to be some intense deep shade, and the roots on maple trees are very shallow, and the Norway maples have very aggressive roots, and it would really suck a lot of the moisture out of this soil. And right behind this fence is a really steep hill, so already we have quite a bit of drainage happening here where the rain runs off. So I don't want to lose additional access to water. This will also provide a little bit more sunlight in this area, which is always a good thing. So part of today's project is ensuring that this hellebore right here can actually be seen better and has plenty of room to grow. When I planted these, I thought that these hostas might be too close and might infringe upon the space of the hellebore, and I was right. So we're just going to come in here and we're going to look for a little bit of space. So we're going to look in here, and I think this is going to be a good spot actually, right in between here to get the spade in, and we'll chop out this whole section of the plant, and then we'll do something similar with this side over here. We'll see if we can get away with not actually taking the entire hosta plants out, but just sections of them. Like I said, I'm just going in here. I'm separating out the part that I want to dig from the part that I don't. And then I'm simply going to put the shovel down right in between, hopefully. It feels rather hard though. Ooh, there must be a root here. Okay, I think we're making some good progress now. I don't want to dig up the hellebore or hurt the hellebore roots, but I do want to get this hosta out. I think it's coming. There we go. Oh yeah, that's much better, isn't it? Perfect. Okay, now we're going to try the same thing with this one over here. Let me just find a good separation point. Yeah, I think right up here in the front is where we want to be. Sorry, I'm just blowing the mosquitoes away from my face if you hear weird noises. And these hostas, yes, I like them, but I like the hellebores much more. And I'm not really sure if I might even end up pulling these hostas out completely. Right now I just want to try a little bit of removal, let these kind of fill in. Oh, look at that, I have some pure white leaves. That is crazy. Look at that. Anyways, we'll look at this and live with that for a little bit and see how I like it before I make any additional changes. It definitely feels more open though, and like there's room for the leaves on that hellebore to spread out. Now I do need to do a similar thing to this hellebore right here as well. In the case of this hellebore, and this hosta, boy, I think I need to take out quite a bit of this hosta that's up front here. I don't think there's going to be a whole lot left. Let's see. Okay, I think that's all right for that variegated one for now. This one's rather small, so I don't think it's going to be too badly in the way. But now I want to deal with the one that's a little bit more blue that is creeping in behind the hellebore. All of this that I see right now is definitely infringing upon this hellebore. So I need to find a nice point of separation to be able to dig out. And this all started as just one hosta, and it has spread. It's probably a good 3 feet wide at this point. Do not want to dig that hellebore up. I want to see what I can do to pull this out, or if I need to dig from the other direction. I think I still need to loosen the root valve further. There we go. If you've ever dug hostas before, you know just how tough these plants are. They will take a beating and keep on growing. As much manhandling as I'm doing right now, I could replant it and it would be fine. Oof, I think it's still stuck in here. All right, and then we'll just pull off some of these branches that appeared to have been kind of smushed, or leaves. And do a little bit of a fluff job here to make it look like I didn't trample this hosta, even though I did. Okay, you guys, what do you think? I think this turned out pretty good. Now, I still, again, am going to have to think a little bit more on the variegated hostas and whether I pull them out completely from this garden area. But I want to see how big the hellebores get. I want to watch them fill out. And in order to do that, I really needed to give them this space to be able to grow on. So that is excellent. All right, I also want to give you guys an update on some of my bare root perennials that I have. I got asked some questions by some viewers as to how they're doing. So let's go take a look at those. All right, if you follow my channel since the winter time, you'll know that I got a couple of things during the winter time that were bare root. One of them being this geranium. And this is a cranesbill geranium. And there are 3 of them in this pot. There is one back here, and they are really just starting to grow. They do like warmer weather, so right now they're just starting to actually put on quite a bit more growth than they had been because it's been so cool and very wet. And they also don't like it to be super wet either. So I think all in all, these are going to be fine and that they're going to look great once they really hit their stride. So they're definitely putting on the roots that they need to put on more growth. And then over here we have the bleeding heart. This is the luxuriant bleeding heart. So this one was one of the bare roots that I got as well. There were several of them, and so this is just one. And then another area that I planted one in is this pot right here. Oops, my shadow's in the way. So you can see I have one right here on the edge of this pot, and it's not necessarily that it's going to stay there, but after growing these on a bit, I realized that they are very similar to some that I got that are a proven winners variety that are called, I think they're called something like diamonds, pink diamonds or something like that. And they really don't like my garden soil because it's too heavy for them. The roots are just not that vigorous. They prefer a really nice, light, well-drained soil, at least in my growing experience. So I didn't want to place these into the actual garden, and I'm just going to keep them in pots for now. And we'll see what I decide to do with them this fall. Maybe I'll think of a particular area in the garden where they will do well. But yeah, they're doing great in the pots here. Now, I am sad to report that the shrubs that I ordered from Hirts, I neglected, and so those have not made it through the winter very well. In March, we had a really cold spell with really cold rain and sleet and ice, and I knew I should bring them in, and I thought about it quite a few times, but I never did. And so they really got root rot and just died in their pots probably that same week. And I did give them plenty of time to try to come out, but actually this last week I actually ended up adding them to the compost bin. So it was really fun buying them. It was really fun looking at them and getting some ideas for them, but those have gone by the wayside. But one of the reasons why I got them was because I have this new project that I'm planning to do. So let me show you that now. So this is what is left of my 9 yards of mulch, and you will see that I also have an addition of a pile of rocks. So my awesome hubby and son went and picked these up from a farmer who had cleared them out of their field, and I believe they were charging 25 cents per rock. I found them on Facebook Marketplace. That's how I get a lot of my rocks, and I know a ton of you guys have questions for me about where did you get your rocks. And I use them as borders along all of my beds, and I just love using them that way. I think it's a really nice way to, you know, kind of separate the garden beds from the lawn. So what am I going to do with these rocks? Well, let me show you. So right now in the front garden, and we are facing northwest right now, we have a nice kind of kidney-shaped garden island, which I call the sun garden bed over here. And then we have this maple that I planted over here, and this is its 3rd year being in the ground, and it has a very small circular flower bed at the base of it. And it's always been my intention to try to add to that, because I don't really like the look of, you know, what it kind of looks like a campfire ring around the bottom of it. It's got some pretty flowers in it, but it really doesn't make much of a statement, right? So my goal is to take this and kind of pull it out and draw it out this way so that it curves towards the other garden bed. Now, I don't have a ton of rocks, so it's not going to be huge, but I wanted it to be something that is doable for us and maintainable over time, and we can add to it. The cool thing was this farmer has so many rocks. I know we can probably go back there if we need more. So yes, I'm just going to kind of move that out towards this other garden bed, and we'll still retain the ability to go in and out through here. That makes it nice to be able to walk back and forth to the neighbor's house, to be able to mow the lawn, etc. But I think it's going to make a really nice addition to the garden. What do you think? Well, the wind sure is picking up now, you guys. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll see you next time. Bye!